go. Lovely. Let's begin. And hope nothing's broken.
Something already broke.
What?
It's gone.
So it's just left.
Oh God. Lovely start. Welcome back everyone to Legends of Aleria. 5e D&D stream hosted by yours truly, and I'm accompanied by all these lovely other individuals. I hope you've all had an absolutely lovely week. I had a lovely week off work where I did absolutely fuck all. It was great.
Very nice.
So, I just want to get right into it really. I'm here to play D&D, that's what I'm here for. So as a quick recap of last week, does anyone else want to do the recap actually? Has anyone got
No.
some? Okay, someone's going to do the recap because I don't want to do it this week. I will
I would,
roll
but
a
I don't know what
D5 if I
happened.
have to.
Roll the D5, tempt fate.
A D4? No, Bellark wasn't here, right?
I could
D4.
try,
D4.
but you might have gone on a real adventure.
It's how I've got it up on my Discord screen over here. 3. 1, 2, 3. Right, lovely. I know you by like 5 different names. Enigma. You're doing
There we go. Right, so we chased Yagarath through the cavern caves. Couldn't catch up to him because he was in darkness, limiting us. Blah blah blah. Too many notes. We basically fought with Jagarath in the darkness. We managed to kind of kite him. We're using AoE fire, courtesy of Wilston. We eventually just beat the shit out of him, and I cut his head off. His friends tried to rescue him by mining through some rock. We also just absolutely lit them up as soon as they opened up. Other than that, I don't really remember what happened. I think it's just one big fight sequence.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least that's all I've written down, so I bloody hope that was it. Yeah, we just finish up as you have just massacred the last of the Mine-otaurs that just broken through the wall. You showed them no mercy despite the conversation that Bellark was having with Michael a couple of sessions ago.
There was mercy. There was a mercy killing.
That was a discussion about mercy when you didn't know the intention of the people. We knew the intention of these people.
That's fair enough.
Hey. So yeah, Bell, you were there. You're there. You were always there. You were never known.
Rick and Ivar were just in the corner like, what's happening?
Ivar has gone somewhere else at this point, I think.
I've lost him.
I think it's canon that he went back up the lift at some point. He's gone back up the lift. He could have gone and, well, we can have this discussion now actually. Do you want him to have informed the guards and such like and told them? I imagine he probably would have done if he went back up the lift.
It
You know, I
seemed
tried
quite
to
an
yell
Ivar
at
thing
them.
to do.
I tried to yell at them and I don't think I got very far, so could have sent him up.
Yeah.
Send the emissary.
He's going up anyway, so he may as well inform them. So he's gone off to do that, as he has some scheduling issues for the campaign at the moment, but we should have that fixed at some point, hopefully. So yes, you're all stood in this dank, dusty cavern with some dead Mine-otaurs at your feet. So how are you proceeding? What's the plan? Who's next?
So, looking around, because obviously the Minotaurs had dug through, and can we see out into the snow, into the wilderness?
You can see further into the cave that is being mined by the Minotaurs, but you can't see anything that indicates the light of day through the tunnel.
Do we know what time it should be at this point?
Don't ask me that.
Okay. Should it be light outside or not?
It's pretty much always light up in snowy mountain areas that's high up.
Cool, we'll take that. I'm not hungry or tired, therefore it's daytime.
I believe, as far as I know, it's about midday. Because I'm fairly certain you woke up, you came in pretty much just as you woke up. It's only been a couple of hours, so it's probably maybe about 2-3 p.m. at the latest. We'll say it's about 3, based on your internal body clock of when you get hungry.
Always 11.
So,
Well, we seem to have demolished these fellows quite significantly. Do we follow a tunnel? I think that seems a reasonable course of action here. Yeah.
Ah, yes. Let's follow the tunnel dug by demons.
What could possibly go wrong?
Do you want the list in order of the alphabet or importance?
I don't want it at all. And Evelios wanders off up the tunnel, keeping half an eye out for any traps or anything they might have set. Go.
yeah. Is that the consensus? Are we all going? Someone stayed behind? Is someone going to play hopscotch as they go up the tunnel? What's the plan?
Absolutely. I didn't know that was an option. I'm doing it.
Of course it's an option. We're playing D&D.
Hopscotch is always an
Can I-
option.
Can I do like basketball, like dribbling with Jagraf's head?
Don't think
I
heads are
imagine
that
it's
bouncy.
bouncy
Try.
enough to do that.
Yeah. Just splat.
Are you taking the head with you?
Yes.
As far as I know, you cut it off, you picked it up, but other than that, you've just left his body there.
Yeah, leave the body. I'll tie the head to my belt.
Yep, and you're just going straight down the tunnel?
Before I go, I'll just have a look over his body, see if I'm expecting him not to have anything on him because he's been in prison for so many years.
Mhm.
So just want to check because it would be very suspicious if he had something of the outside world.
Yeah, go for it. Just a real quick investigation on that one.
Don't know
Now-
if anybody else has done this since, but I'm gonna just dancing lights so that we've got some light because I don't know if we do. So do now.
Lovely.
So
Um,
I'm imagining during that whole fight sequence, you just stood there with dancing lights up to illuminate the rest of the cabin.
Of that, the mood
Otherwise-
lighting in the situation.
Otherwise, it would not have been light outside of the darkness, so it would have been darkness everywhere.
That's definitely what I was doing. It was just
Perfect.
cantrip after cantrip.
By the way, I guidanced myself. I total of 12.
No, you give him a quick pat down. As you're expecting, he doesn't have anything on him. You know, the knives that he was using that were made of shadow seem to have dissipated. There are still some shadows, like, kind of coiling and writhing in and out of his flesh. But it's very much diminished. The entire, like, orb of darkness has completely kind of dissipated, as I described last week. And yes, he doesn't have anything on him.
And from having seen him, Beleric would have seen this last week as well. He pulled out a sphere of shadow, seemingly from his chest, and
chest,
bridged
yes.
that.
Yeah.
So that seems to have been a part of him innately rather than some
Yeah,
item.
from what you can tell, you can't find it. I mean, to be fair, you haven't really cut his chest open to find it, so
No.
it's up to you. I
But
think you could probably presume quite, enough to presume that it's just some sort of innate talent that he possessed as a commander of the shadows.
wonderful. In which case, yeah, I'll carry on following up the tunnel.
Lovely. I shall describe what the tunnel looks like. So yeah, as you travel through these tunnels, you're finding yourself surrounded by these kind of like rugged, rough-hewn rocks that are all like completely coated in the scars of like heavy mining activity. Mostly pickaxes and kind of claws-ish. They kind of look a little bit like claws. Is what seems to have been mining out this tunnel. And as you begin, there's very freshly laid mine carts that kind of run down the middle of the tunnel. But the further and further you walk on, the less and less like new and pristine these mine carts start to look. Not mine carts, sorry, mine tracks. From extended heavy use of them, taking the stone that they've mined out back to presumably the entrance. The air is thick with kind of like just the scent of earth. A bit like kind of like freshly cut grass, only freshly cut rock. I imagine there's some sort of smell to that. Probably mostly dust in your nostrils and very unpleasant stuffiness, but oh well. And these tunnels, they twist and turn quite a lot. It creates kind of, like a labyrinthian network that seems to stretch on for a very long time. You're going to be walking for a long, long while. At some points, these ceilings get kind of low. You have to crouch down a little bit. Some places they don't seem to have picked up all the rocks. There's a bit difficult terrain here and there, rubble everywhere. There's quite a few loose stones, a few unexpected, just kind of like sheer drops in the tunnel. Maybe where they've encountered some different kind of like rock formations, or they whatever they used to kind of detect where they needed to go, told them that they needed to go down suddenly or something like that. But after a good... Okay, so you've been travelling for a good 6 hours at this point, and nothing seems to have changed. So I'll give you a chance to do or say something at this point.
I am bored out of my mind.
Wilson is just gonna be singing shanties again, as he does while you're walking places.
Lovely. Are you just going to kind of continue and take rests with watches until you come to the other side of this tunnel?
So, Eric is going to gently put his hand on Wilson's shoulder and say, perhaps we should all think about being a bit quieter in case there are still people in this tunnel. It's going on for a long while. We don't know where we're going to pick up. It might be best not to display our position as clearly.
There any harm in having a bit of fun?
Do you know sign language?
I certainly do not.
That's a shame. Yeah.
Do you not like my singing?
I think it's beautiful. I would rather survive than hear the singing, but the singing is very nice. You've clearly been practicing.
I'll be quiet.
Clank, clank, clank as Janus walks behind.
Okay. Yeah, so you'll get to your kind of internal body clock of like it's evening, it's dinner time, and you'll still be in the tunnel with no signs of getting towards the entrance. So I'm assuming you're going to go for a rest. You could press on, but you'll start to accrue some levels of exhaustion. So I'll leave that option up to you.
Are we moving upward like at all, or is this just solidly along?
Maybe a history check.
Oh. Give me 1 second. Yeah.
Remind me, who has the map at this point?
16.
I think
I
Belle
think
has
we
the map.
took it. I was about to say, I think I took it back, but given
You were
the
definitely given the map back.
escapade last time, I think I wrote it down.
Yes. If you're
I can't trust myself.
If you're posing the question to the group, like if you're asking the group if you're going up at all, then you can all roll history checks. What did you roll?
16.
Yeah. So it is quite hard to tell with how many kind of random unevenness there is in the cave, but you're definitely getting the sense that you're going up at least a little bit. But like I said, it's quite hard to tell with how many sheer drops there are. That they do go up again, but kind of like mathematically, I'm sure it's something that Michael could do, but mathematically counting, the drops and the rises and the the turns and stuff, it's quite difficult. But yeah, you kind of feel like you are going up at least a little bit.
Add the map to my inventory.
Lovely. Are you taking a rest today, or pressing on and accruing exhaustion levels?
Rest.
I think I'll build
take-
a turret before we rest.
I'll happily take first watch. I can stay for 4 hours if you want. I'm an elfy boy.
Wait, can I put a turret and
Oh,
have it, be on the lookout? Just react by shooting, which will probably wake everyone up.
I think you have to like command it to do stuff, don't you? Like you have to use your bonus action to make it shoot, so it can't shoot on itself.
Hmm.
It's not like a sentry turret kind of thing. But you can definitely set it up. So this tunnel that you're in, it's kind of the mine shaft, the mine cart's in the middle, and then there's enough room either side for one person to walk. So you can just about get kind of 3 people in a line. It's quite cramped if you do that, but you can just about do it. Maybe 2 if Janice is on that line, but
Wherever people start sleeping, I'll try and stand on the unknown side of things if I'm
Yep.
taking watch.
lovely. So we've got 1 watch from Michael. You'll need 2 other people to take 2-hour watches, or you can
I'll take 1.
1-hour watches. Or
I'll take a watch.
lovely. Quick perception for your watches.
Delight.
26. Sorry, it's not 26. It's a 29.
Bog average.
Yeah, first watch, you are very confident that you have noticed absolutely everything that there is to notice during that watch, and it wasn't very much. Same for everyone else. Nothing seems to have got in your way or come up on you. Nothing's coming from the tunnel either direction. You don't hear anything off in the distance or anything like that. And you wake up after a good, 8 hours kind of like rest together. Velios kind of like wakes everyone up in the morning. And you can take your long rest. Heal up all of the wounds that you took from that fight. Apart from Beleric, who
Really needed that rest.
to be fair, I think
Also-
you've used some spell slots for the lights at some point, right?
And I had a few spells that were disappeared.
Yeah. Anyone else doing anything else for anything else over that long rest?
I will be popping up my my spells.
In your
And
mushroom.
yes, my mushroom. My mushroom will make a squeaking mouse sound. If anyone's listening.
Interesting.
This floor is cold.
So, back to walking in the morning. Lovely. So you continue through the tunnel. You've been going for about 10 hours up until this point, and it will take you a good another 6 hours, then a lunch break, and then another 4 hours. So about 21-ish hours of just walking through this monotonous tunnel to kind of realize that something's changing. So you start to notice that the tunnel is getting slightly wider, very, very, very gradually. But over the course of walking, you're noticing that the 3 people that were abreast are kind of able to, breathe a little bit more and spread their arms out a little bit more. And then the first sign of something drastically different would be like an open archway on the left-hand side of the corridor, the tunnel. And as you walk up to it, you can kind of see inside. No people, luckily. It appears to be where they have thrown all of their broken equipment, broken pickaxes, broken minecarts, some broken tracks. It's all just kind of like thrown into this room. A couple of broken boxes, barrels, bits of rubble and dust kind of all over the floor as well. It's a good about 30 by 25 foot room.
Wilson's gonna try and gather some scrap metal from the pile.
Yeah, you can get some scrap metal. A lot of the broken kind of like pickaxe heads there, so you can probably gather as much as. I mean, what are you trying to pick up?
Any tiny metal bits that I can chip off, no bigger than a cube. Well, for Wilson, that's
I mean, there's loads of broken pickaxe heads.
yeah,
So
stuff like that.
You can get only 3d12, and that's how many you can grab. I'm assuming you've got space in your bag of holding for all this stuff. Yeah, 15. So you get about 15 kind of like big shards of pickaxe head metal.
Is there
How?
anything in there? Oh, sorry.
Go for it.
Is there anything in there that's like if it's all kind of discarded stuff, is there any like paperwork anywhere? Maybe like missives they've received or
You
just
can spend some
stuff?
time investigating while Wilson's picking stuff up if you want.
Sure, why not? Ooh. Can't do maths. 21.
I heard 91 there, and that's definitely not right.
Yeah, absolutely. 21.
21. You don't find any pieces of paper. All you find is, like I said, bits of mine carts, like working mining equipment. You might find a bit of candle wax here and there from kind of like lanterns. You find some mining helmets. All the oil has kind of been burnt out from them, and the helmets that are here are kind of broken anyway. So you don't find any bits of paper or any receipts, sadly. They're clearly somewhere else.
Are there any like long bits of metal, like track bits, that are easily heftable?
Most
Velios
of
is
them
after a
are
metal walking.
broken. Oh yeah, you'll be able to find a walking stick length, but it's
Just
going to be
yeah.
it's going to be broken at one end, so it might kind of double as a spear as well if you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, so the mine shafts they have to assemble them, so I think each bit of metal is like 6 foot in length. So it'll just be kind of like a 6 foot metal pole that's jagged at one end.
X. Feel like a wizard.
Eric sees in the corner of the room there's just this rock that looks darker than you'd expect, almost jet black. Very intrigued, he's gonna walk over to it and he's gonna bend down and try and pick it up. And as soon as he does that, he remembers what body he's in, and his feet slip out from under him, and he slaps his face into the rock as he just can't lift up to the rock with his strength. So he's got a bit of a bloody nose.
I'll go over and help him up.
Thank you.
Are you all right over there?
I slipped.
I see. Try not to.
I'm not having falls. No need to put me in a home yet.
Yeah, so you spend a good, kind of 10 to 15 minutes-ish kind of like rummaging around in this room. Until you've looked at what you want to look at, and you reconvene together.
Looking at the map, is there, and I don't know if, actually probably not, but I'm going to ask anyway, is there any way of kind of knowing whether we've gone past like the lake outside? Like, does it kind of track up with the time that we spent walking across the lake?
Yes, very
Boat,
much so.
sorry. Yeah.
The lake only took
Okay, so
less than an hour. Well, it was less than an hour to
Okay.
walk over. It was like an hour or something like that.
Okay, cool. So we're
Assuming
well
there's
clear
no
of that.
magic that are making you walk in constant circles, then you cleared
Oh,
that
no.
a long time ago.
Can I check that some way? Just for safeties?
With a very good survival check. Unless you
I'll give it a go,
have,
just because now you've put that in my mind, I'm scared.
like the keen mind feat or something like that. It is where you like always
have-
know the layout of stuff. I can't quite remember
I
what
have
feat it is.
Nothing except suspicious minds.
Something we can't go on together.
Exactly. Actually, to be fair, that's a 20. I thought my survival was worse than that.
Yeah, no, you definitely seem to have cleared it by quite a good while. Kind of like looking at the map and kind of like doing a couple of calculations here and there. You seem to have gone between north and east ish. It might be, within some leeway, but it's definitely somewhere like northeast, between kind of north and east, northeast-ish. Did we get? You should have done.
Sorry, I was just asking. Yeah, if we had XP, you might have told us, and I
I
just
might have
forgot.
just not told you, to be honest.
Did
Don't
anyone?
remember.
I think I did. You'll get 2,000 for killing Yagara,
Oh, lovely.
and then there was 100, 200. I can't remember how many Mine-otaurs you killed. It was 4, right?
Yes.
Yes.
150, 150, 150, 150. Divided by 6.
Divided by 6 or 5.
It would have been divided by 5. It's 125, wasn't that? 115? 120. 120 XP for the Mine-otaurs each. So a total of 2,120.
According to my calculations, we're on 54,705. I don't know if that
Yes.
matches to
That
everyone else.
tallies.
Wonderful.
Got the same.
I'll take everyone else's word for it.
I totally didn't use a calculator.
Yeah, me neither, bro. I just all off the top of my head.
Is there somewhere I can write this? Is there a box?
Just
You can
under your
write it
name.
in your description or somewhere like that.
What's the
It's
number?
on
Yeah,
attributes.
It's also just under your name, next to your race on the attributes page.
Yes, so yeah, judging by the map and your kind of like memory of what kind of roughly what turns you took, you've gone kind of like between north and east, seemingly deeper into the mountains.
I'm going to, in that case, turn to who's next to me. I'm going to turn to Wilston because I haven't spoken to Wilston for a while. Just kind of hold the map down and say, do we have any more of those cold potions? Because I think we're going to need a few more if we're heading quite so far north. Do you remember?
I'm gonna like look into my bag of holding and start like pulling stuff out. Let's see. Shotgun, poison potions, potions of haste, scrap metal, bunch of tools. I don't have any more on me, so
Good.
maybe Ivar has them. We should ask. Oh,
Oh no. Anybody else? If we're going upwards and we only had enough for the return journey, Ivelios, I don't want to ask, but
I made
do
enough
we have more?
for one each. If anybody can find me some materials.
Well, we've used 3 days of it ish. We still have another 4 days. Maybe if we
That is
can
true.
find our bearings, we'll still have time to get out.
Surely the guards should have some.
True. To find our way back.
Maybe. Hmm.
Or we might as well go to the end of this tunnel, check it out first, and then head back.
We've come this far. I mean, how much further can it be?
Exactly.
2 days of walking.
7 days later.
There's like a training montage of you doing like push-ups as you walk down the tunnel. You don't get XP from that, guys. Lovely. So you're continuing down the tunnel. You walk back out, and after a couple more hours of walking, maybe about an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes or so, you do come to a point where it takes you a good few minutes to kind of realize what it is because of how long you've been walking in the dank, deep darkness. It takes you a good, 30, 40 seconds to realize that something in front of you is different. There appears to be some sort of natural light coming into the cave from the outside. It looks a little bit like sunlight. It's a little bit more red than sunlight. Maybe it's the setting sun or something like that. And as you continue further down the tunnel, you do. It starts to like slope up quite a lot. And you can see kind of like up from your angle, up the slope, daylight coming through a big stone archway. No, you can't. I completely forgot where you were. There's another room
It's a
before you get
mirage.
there. You thought you did, but it was just the heat and the breath of the cave overwhelming your senses because I read the wrong part.
Glorious sunshine! Steps forward just into a
What
room.
it actually is presumably the red glowing heat of what looks to be like a giant forge inside a room that you've walked up to the entrance to it, and it appears to be like a massive forge room. There's a big structure that's got some heat billowing out the top of it, and the smoke all kind of coalesces at the top of the cavern and is dispersed through some holes in the roof. It's like a big anvil is attached to the side of it that's got like a large metal arm that's kind of beating down upon some metal that's laid out across the anvil. Quick count shows you that there's about 7 Mine-otaurs that are currently working at this massive forge.
What does it look like they're forging? Does it
Currently,
look like
a big flat sheet of metal.
looking around the room? Is there a pile of, for example, pickaxes that they might have been making, or weapons that they might have been making?
There is a pile of broken pickaxes in one of the corner. There's also a small pile of kind of like stone rubble that appears to glint a little bit more than stone should in the light of the forge. Presumably some sort of ore. And a couple of
We
minecarts.
see these. When we see these, I assume we don't all just stand like Muppets in the doorway.
I was assuming
Should we-
you weren't. I just kind of
Okay, I just wanted to
describing what you could see
clarify.
at a glance before you kind of like jump back.
I just know what we're like, and if we were just stood there being like, oh look, there's Minotaurs in there. Cool.
I assume you always shut doors behind you, and I assume that you don't see enemies and just stand there gormlessly in the entrance.
You assume great things.
I assume this is you guys kind of like walking up to the entrance, seeing what it is, and then kind of like hopping back a few steps to kind of like have a discussion and see what's what.
Except for Wilson, because he doesn't have the angle to see the enemies. I'd assume someone would just stop me.
Just up, up, up.
So,
Any plans?
Heal.
Oh, I just realised. I had people in the wrong spots. Continue.
And heal.
Well, do we need to fight these, or can we just shuffle past?
I think fight.
Of course you
You
do.
always think fight.
It's easy fight.
just as a one-track mind.
I have a multiple track mind.
Of course, there's sleep on there as well. How could I?
Yes.
My only contribution would be to say it is clear that these people are working in the employment of the demons. They are part of the escape attempt. They are soldiers, not civilians.
Exactly.
They're also trying to break into one of the most secure places to a prisoner who is no longer there. How much of a
However-
threat are they?
They are
Alright.
enemy soldiers within our territory. We have every right to kill them.
Let's see.
However-
So far, the plans are Janus wants to kill them, and the rest of you want to blabber about it. Ah, fuck it. And I will cast haste on Janus.
Oh yeah, boys. as soon as that happens, Janus is rushing into that room.
So, whilst Janus starts running into the room, Eric is going to be talking maybe a bit towards Bellaruk, talking about maybe we can ask them, see if they want to surrender, or that sort of thing. That's not going to make a difference.
Janus flies past. It appears the decision has been made.
Lovely. So how much movement have you got right now? Like 80?
Much.
Yes, something like that.
No, you still have
80
30
base.
on base.
Do you
Ah.
not have?
So
Oh,
60. You've
He's a
got
fighter.
60, and then you have an extra turn for.
I can cast Long Strider on him as well. And he'll get...
Well, that's up to you. Does Janus give you time to do that?
Or
I
I
give
can
him
do
enough
it
time.
first.
I'm gonna turn to Wilson and go, "You're a bad influence."
We're doing this. We're rushing in.
I am
Okay.
very aware.
So you got 40, 80, and then you've got another action to dash if you want to.
Yes, I'm getting in as close as possible,
Okay. A dash will get you up to all of them.
and I will be raging.
Okay. So as you kind of like dash into the room, some of the Minotaurs kind of turn around and look at you. Most of them turn back to the forging of whatever they're doing. One of them's kind of like looking at you a bit confused, and then you roar out in rage. You guys will get a round of surprise. I'm assuming Janus will probably get to go first.
Yay. Do I have to roll initiative first, or
Nope, you get a round of surprise first.
I'm just going to go to the closest one and stab, kill, maim, kill them all? And I get
This
a
round
10.
of supplies applies to us as well.
There we go.
Lovely. What is that? First was an attack roll 10.
Yeah.
No, you're rolling advantage, so 21 with a 7. 21 to hit first attack.
Oh, it's an advantage.
Are you not recklessly attacking?
I can now.
Well, okay. The first one hit the first one. You're going for the same one with both attacks.
Yeah.
Lovely. The first one is instantly dead. One slice across the torso, and then you cut it in half with the other slice back.
Attaboy!
It drops to the floor in 2 pieces. Smouldering Minotaur flesh. Lovely scent fills the room. It probably smells a bit like cow. Is that what Minotaurs are?
Beefy.
Boar? Not boar.
Beef.
Bull. Beef, yeah, that's
Yes.
the one.
Beefy boys.
What's everyone else doing in this round of surprise?
How far away are they from us, roughly, right now?
About 80 or so feet from the doorway.
Okay. In which case, Evelios is just gonna drop the walking stick, pull out his short bow, and go. Janus can be so messy, and it's just gonna aim at one of them, the closest one, and just aim for nice and neat.
How they
Am
were
I-
kind of...
Go on.
So how they're kind of set up is there's 3 on one side of the anvil, 3 on the other side, and then 1 kind of like at the head. So Danish has just killed 1 on this side, you're shooting at 1 on this side, I'm presuming?
Yes, because that'll be 80 feet, which
Yep.
is the short range on my bow. So,
Yep.
Am I hidden right now?
You definitely are, yeah.
Cool. In which case, let's see. That's a nat 20.
This one is probably dead.
Well, as a
See your
reminder,
dice.
you take max damage on everything, right, for crits?
Yep.
So that is 36, 37, 38, 41 plus That's 66 damage.
Okay, he's dead, and his family back home is also dead.
Oh no!
Yeah. It just goes right through just the base of the neck and just boom, and then he nice and neat and tight.
Drops like a sack of potatoes. Lovely. Who else? We have a Wilson, we have a Bellerock, and we have an Eric.
I'm gonna
Um,
build a turret and I'm gonna start moving up. And then if they get into my range, I'll shoot at one of them.
They'll be within 55 feet of you, which I presume is within your range.
Yes, it is. As a matter of
Um,
fact, it is within range of both my gun and my cannon. So,
Lovely.
oh wait, I can't use my gun because I used my action to build the cannon. But I can shoot the cannon.
I command it to shoot at one of them. 26 hits.
Which means it deals a total of 3d8.
Nice.
17 damage and knocks him back 5 feet.
Okay, one of the Minotaurs that's kind of like he's got his back turned to you, interacting whatever is on the anvil. He's smashed in the back, smashed over the burning hot metal that's being forged on the altar. Do you want to roll me a D? Probably a D10. 3. Okay, he takes some extra points of singe damage from being splayed across a burning hot piece of metal.
Yay.
So,
Any
ev-
more?
Are we the
everyone's
bad
around
guys?
the anvil, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Is anyone like next to a few people? Like
Yeah,
they're all
there's
next.
3 on the back.
Yeah.
And there's 1 at the front. So they're all
Is-
within 5 feet of at least one of them.
Okay, but the maximum within 5 feet. There's one person who has 2 people next to him.
Yes.
2 people with 2 people next to
Yeah.
them, and 1 person with 1 person. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I'm going to aim for the middle person, with
Yep.
an ice knife.
Okay.
And attack for 25 to hit.
Definitely. Dex saves on the 2 next
On all
ones?
3 of
On all
them.
3. Okay. One of them rolled an 18. The other
Pass.
2 rolled an 11 and a 2.
Fail. So the first one is fine. The middle and the far one are not fine. The middle one takes piercing damage of. It's rolling, but everything's paused for me. It's not. It's loading.
Okay.
Let's try again. No, I just
We've got
typed
something there.
1d10.
Yeah, that worked.
Yeah.
So,
So they take 4 piercing damage,
which
and then
ones? What's
the
that
the
for?
one that I hit.
Okay, so the middle one.
Yeah. And then all of them take 6 cold damage, halved if they passed. So
Yep.
3, 10, 6.
Yep.
And
Lovely.
that's it.
And we had a turn from nobody. That's it. No, we have a turn from
Oh wait,
Bell.
I've got. Yeah, I'm just gonna see just. Anna's like just run. Wilston like set up his little cannons, things going firing in. I'm like, well, if you're going to do it, you might as well do it well. And I will just use my turn to inspire some people. I'll give inspiration to Wilston and Ivelios.
Lovely. And now we roll for an initiative.
Okay. Okay. Ah.
Initiative.
Who are we missing?
12.
12 for Bell.
8. Natural 1.
What's your dexterity modifier, Bell? Sorry, what's your
2.
dexterity?
18 here.
We'll go there. What was yours, sorry, Ivelios? Nate.
An 8.
Lovely. In that case, Eric, you're first in the turn order.
Okay, who looks most hurt?
The one
And
that's currently kind of like half splayed across the anvil.
I'll go for them.
Okay.
That is a nat 1 for a 10. So I miss, and that is my turn.
Mm-hmm.
I'll move in a bit further.
Lovely. The one in the middle. The one that you hit with the ice knife. Is next. He is going to try and run away. In fact, they all are. These guys are all going to run 30 feet away.
You're standing in the doorway.
No, so two of them, two of the ones that you hit with your ice knife on the backside, are going to start to sprint to a doorway on the other side of the room. They get about halfway to it. The one that's splayed across the anvil is probably going to take another little bit of singe damage if you want to roll that again, Doom. As he kind of pushes himself off of it.
What am I rolling again?
I said it was a D10, right? I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, D10.
Cool.
10. Lovely. As bits of his flesh kind of peel off as they're stuck to the metal. And he kind of turns around to see a Janus. Has a face of pure terror. And is going to attempt to run away.
Oh, you poor soul.
You will be able to attack him if you want, Janus.
Oh, yes, please.
If you want, Janice.
Okay. Now, do you get more damage on a nat 20 than Evelios does? Let's see.
I don't know.
Not quite.
No.
36
36.
points of fire damage, enough to kill him from the start. Lovely.
Do I
To
have
be
to do-
fair,
Clean
On
cut through
your-
the torso.
on your dice, you rolled a 1, 1, 2, and 2 for your
Oh,
damage.
yeah.
So, still.
Yeah.
Do I
And
need to
then-
roll wisdom for that?
No, it's not your turn.
Okay.
No, it's not your turn now. So now you will.
Now I will. Cool. Right. Can I reach the ones trying to escape?
Yes, definitely. They're
Yep,
only about 45 feet away from you.
That is what I'm going to do.
About 50 feet away. Yeah, you can run towards. There's two that are currently run halfway across the room right now.
I go to one of them and I
Yep.
attack him. That's a hit.
First one, 19 points of fire damage. He's still up, but he staggers slightly.
Yeah,
but
we finish him.
unfortunately, he's wounded.
We finish him off. Yes.
That's another nat 20.
We got
Do
41.
finish him off. 41. He is dead. Completely. And
And then I stand menacingly behind the other one.
okay. You don't want to action surge or.
You fuck. Yeah, we'll action surge. Go. Oh, yes.
16.
Does a 14 hit?
Does a what, sorry? Does a 14 hit?
Yeah.
What? That guy's not dead. No, that guy is dead. What's the other
Too many Mine-otaurs.
one? There is.
Not anymore.
No,
As far as Janus is concerned, there's still too many Mine-otaurs.
Oh, yeah.
That guy is dead. You just killed one. That guy's dead. This is the other
Another
one that's
one
running
bites
away.
the dust.
Yes, it is. Okay. 14. A 14 does hit. Yes, it does.
16.
16 plus 16.
32.
Not quite enough. He's very, very low. Oh, no, you hit this guy before, didn't you, with your ice knife? He is dead.
Oh, yeah.
That 6 points of cold damage that you did to him was enough to get him finished.
Teamwork. Ice and fire.
Beleric.
That's
Are there any?
some ice.
How many are left? What's
So there
what's
is
occurring?
one kind of at the head of the anvil, and there is one, I believe, still on the back backside that hasn't run away yet.
Okay. Neither of those have been harmed thus
The one at
far.
the back has been hit. Yeah, the one at the back
Okay.
has been hit a little bit by the ice knife.
Okay. Does the forge have like an open fire?
You cruel, cruel man. Yes, it does.
I'm trying to imagine this in my mind. Does Okay, basically, what I would like to do is cast Shatter in the fire to send it out, but I don't want to hit any of my pals. Is that possible?
It'll be
Yeah,
fine.
no,
I'll,
Or if
I'll
I
be fine.
if I
That one's
yell
very
and say
vulnerable.
"Get down,"
I mean, I don't know what the spell
Then-
exactly does, so you'll have to.
yeah, I don't know if this will work. I just wanted something spicy rather than just not being able to do anything. A sudden loud ringing noise painfully intense erupts from a point of your choice within range. Each creature in a 10-foot radius sphere centered on that point must make a Constitution saving throw.
They're not within 10 foot of the open fire. Unfortunately, the open
okay.
fire's not right next to the anvil.
They are within 10
okay.
foot of the anvil, though, if you do it
Yeah,
on
they're
that.
within 10 foot of each other.
I can put it.
Sure, yeah, why not? That sounds fun. I'll cast it on the anvil and see if I can shrapnel it out a bit.
Definitely. So dex save,
Spells.
right? Con save.
How do I
Con save.
con save, yeah.
Through. One of them rolled a 20. One of them rolled a 15. So one of them fails. One of them succeeds.
Yes. But then I've lost the spell. I'm confused by only having one screen. So it's 3d8 thunder damage, then half on a failed save. So
I think it would be the other way around.
yes, sorry, you're entirely right. I can't find. Oh my gosh, sorry, I'm so disorganized today.
Yeah, you saw Goodman, so was I.
There are so many dice in my little bag. The owl bear is not guarding them. Okay. Um, so that is 16 under damage,
So
then
one of them takes
half for one of them.
4, and one of them takes 8.
Yes.
Lovely. Wellston then.
I will shoot. So which ones are still alive?
There's one at the right hand side of the anvil which doesn't have any cover, but the one on the back side's going to have a bit of cover.
gonna
Because
shoot
he's behind
him.
the anvil.
I'm gonna shoot him with my gun.
Which one?
The one behind the anvil.
Okay. You have stuff that ignores cover?
Yes.
I thought you did. Now you're going to point me saying it. A 13 isn't enough though, he's got a 14.
Wait.
Waiting.
Flash of
Do you have
genius.
inspiration, I think?
That as well. Inspiration, what is that? Reroll, right?
A D8.
8.
Oh.
Bardic
Just get it
inspiration
added.
is different from normal inspiration.
17.
You've got to be
No, that's
special
gonna hit.
about it.
16 damage.
16 damage on the guy at the back. He's bloodied now.
And then
Oh,
I
wow.
will shoot him again with my cannon.
Because he can ignore cover.
Don't know if my cannon gets the
What is it?
advantage of me having sharpshooter.
No, it wouldn't. No, sharpshooter's on your attacks, so it wouldn't ignore cover. It's not much cover anyway, it's just a plus 2 to its AC.
Yeah, I'll just take my shots. Oof.
24
It's
anyway.
going to hit. Now, you could not kill him, it's feasible. You were close. You really tried not to kill him, but he's dead.
2-2-1. Damn, that's hit roll. Yeah, but that's my turn.
Lovely. We have Bevelios then. Last person coming around.
Oh, right.
Finish him.
Yeah, there's just the one of them left at this point,
The
isn't
one at
there?
the head of the anvil, yes.
Yep. I'm just going to stand right in the open doorway. Going to use a bonus action to steady aim and just knock an arrow down the sight. And just silently.
You give yourself an advantage.
Yep. Which is a 21 to hit.
That is it.
Excellent.
That
Ah,
sounded
nice.
like a lot of dice.
He's a
60.
rogue.
So that's 4. Okay. That's 36 points of piercing damage.
That is enough to take him out from full. He wasn't full,
Yep.
but he's dead.
This one is just straight through chest. Just poof,
Through the
and again.
heart and you.
Sorry. He falls face first onto the head of the anvil. The molten metal starts to sizzle slightly. But we're out of combat for now.
This
How
whole fight took 12 seconds.
unseemly.
Yeah, it was super quick. Just a speed demon, a blurring Janus.
How many did he
Fire
kill?
swords.
Kill
Three.
3.
Yeah, I think you killed 3 of them.
Oh, you killed 4.
Oh, nice.
Killed one when you ran in, one that tried to run away, and then one that tried to run away from you, and then the 2 that tried to run away, right?
Yep.
Kill whore.
What? It's my
More
job.
than half.
No, your job is to save the king.
Yeah.
The thing in the job description stipulates killing things. Well, it doesn't.
That's a side bonus.
To be fair, the job description of the war against demons.
Which Janus is no longer part of. He was exiled from the war. Anyway,
Disgusting.
we're out
We
of
don't know
combat.
that. Well, this is. James, why are you always so messy?
Messy, what are you on about? I cauterize the wounds before I get blood on me.
Blood on you, yes, but I gesture to like the steaming piles of beef.
It's food for later.
I didn't hear you say that, and I'm gonna go take a look at whatever they were working on the anvil.
Lovely. What can I check with this speed? Maybe probably like an intelligence, I'm thinking.
Cool.
I'll assist you with my flash of genius.
What's that, like a plus D6 or something?
Plus int mod.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
So that's a 19. And then flash of genius. So
From the looks of it, so currently it's a very, very large slab of metal. But it looks like they were just starting to form it into the shape of a big sword. You can see some of the ends starting to taper into like a bit of a point, and you can see a couple of bits lying near the anvil that look to be like a very large like hilt. And there's a kind of like the long bit of metal at the bottom for the grip. And it looks like it was about to be fashioned into one large sword, or maybe yeah, it looks like a sword.
that's a very large sword.
Not
Jaguarath
something that you haven't
known
seen
for
before.
having like a particular weapon.
Shadows.
Okay, so yeah, you use those. Valid.
No, but from those of you that have spent an extensive time on the front lines would know that large weapons and demons kind of go hand in hand. Quite a lot of demons are quite big creatures, so they need big swords. It's very effective at cutting through swaths of humanoid allies.
Allies?
I mean, you're the allies.
Fair
They cut
enough.
through you.
Would I be able to recognize what type of sword this demon would belong to?
What type of demon this sword will belong to?
Yeah. Or no, what type of sword this demon?
Not really. There are lots of demons that use very large swords.
Okay.
However, let's call our quick mid-session break, and we'll be back in about 5 minutes. Yeah, lovely.
Og.
Eric Lythe, having been abandoned in the forest as a baby, he survived by joining with the very essence of nature. He's been fighting in the war against humans every day for 120 years, even rumored to have slain 200,000 in 1 week. He is always working, ever watching, forever protecting.
My name is Beloric Morgamash, but you've probably heard of me. I'm a half-orc from the north, but I've been in Alarians for most of my adulthood. You'll know my tales, of course. Warbreaker and the Siren's Curse. Or if those are unfamiliar to you, surely you can't have missed the King's public addresses, penned by yours truly. Be sure to keep an ear out for me, and you know where I am if you hear anything interesting. I'm certainly interested.
I am Ivar, formerly the commander of the Bastion's forces. Now, I seek a way to redeem the loss of the Great Wall, and to return my family to its honourable position once more. For money, influence or power, I will do whatever it takes, and earn my name back.
Ivelios Oakenhill is a half-elven gentleman and sea dog who graduated the Imperial Academy as an alchemist in his younger days. And though he is most well known as the daring captain of the legendary privateer sea demon hunter, the Inevitable Demise, the piratical alchemist, as he is known, is still rumoured to be the driving force behind some of Aleria's most recent alchemical innovations.
Janus Ricot, a human boy raised into nobility by his lesser-known knightly parents, forged into a soldier to fight against demonkind, a hero to the common folk as well as their protector, a paragon to fellow soldiers and bane to all demons, general of the 7th Army and Archdemon's plight, Bellum's demise and the slayer of war, the Warbreaker.
Eric Lythe, having been abandoned in the forest as a baby, he survived by joining with the very essence of nature. He's been fighting in the war against humans every day for 120 years, even rumoured to have slain 200,000 in 1 week. He is always working, ever watching, forever protecting.
My name is Beloric Morgamash, but you've probably heard of me. I'm a half-orc from the north, but I've been in Alarians for most of my adulthood. You'll know my tales, of course. Warbreaker and the Siren's Curse. Or if those are unfamiliar to you, surely you can't have missed the King's public addresses, penned by yours truly. Be sure to keep an ear out for me, and you know where I am if you hear anything interesting. I'm certainly interested.
I am Ivar, formerly the commander of the Bastion's forces. Now, I seek a way to redeem the loss of the Great Wall, and to return my family to its honourable position once more. For money, influence or power, I will do whatever it takes, and earn my name back.
Ivelios Oakenhill is a half-elven gentleman and sea dog who graduated the Imperial Academy as an alchemist in his younger days. And though he is most well known as the daring captain of the legendary privateer sea demon hunter, the Inevitable Demise, the piratical alchemist, as he is known, is still rumoured to be the driving force behind some of Aleria's most recent alchemical innovations.
Janus Ricot, a human boy raised into nobility by his lesser-known knightly parents, forged into a soldier to fight against demonkind, a hero to the common folk as well as their protector, a paragon to fellow soldiers and bane to all demons, general of the 7th Army and Archdemon's plight, Bellum's demise and the slayer of war, the Warbreaker.
Eric Lythe, having been abandoned in the forest as a baby, he survived by joining with the very essence of nature. He's been fighting in the war against humans every day for 120 years, even rumoured to have slain 200,000 in 1 week. He is always working, ever watching, forever protecting.
My name is Beleric Morgamash, but you've probably heard of me. I'm a half-orc from the north, but I've been in Alarians for most of my adulthood. You'll know my tales, of course. Warbreaker and the Siren's Curse. Or if those are unfamiliar to you, surely you can't have missed the King's public addresses, penned by yours truly. Be sure to keep an ear out for me, and you know where I am if you hear anything interesting. I'm certainly interested.
I am Ivar, formerly the commander of the Bastion's forces. Now, I seek a way to redeem the loss of the Great Wall, and to return my family to its honourable position once more. For money, influence or power, I will do whatever it takes, and earn my name back.
Ivelios Oakenheel is a half-elven gentleman and sea dog who graduated the Imperial Academy as an alchemist in his younger days. And though he is most well known as the daring captain of the legendary privateer and sea demon hunter, the Inevitable Demise, the piratical alchemist, as he is known, is still rumoured to be the driving force behind some of Aleria's most recent alchemical...
Yep.
Lovely. Oil upgrades have been had. We're back. Lots of dead Minotaurs on the floor. The room's starting to smell a bit more than it already was. A bit less of, sweaty Minotaur, now of, over sweaty Minotaur. So what are you guys doing?
I go to the other side of the room and see if I can see down the corridor that they were all heading towards, I'm going to go down it. I just want to see if I can maybe work out where it was going.
Yeah, looking down it, it is another longer corridor, but you can see the exit of this corridor. It's maybe about 120, 180 feet. It's a relatively long corridor, all things considered, that leads out into, finally, what looks like daylight. You can't see any snow, but you can see, like a stone floor. But your view is blocked by what appears to be some sort of tent, almost immediately outside of the exit. So from here you can't see much more than that. It's like a red fabric tent. You can see some of the poles holding it up.
Well, I'll just kind of call that back to the room, just the way out.
Mm-hmm.
As Beleric calls that back, Eric's going to try and get his eye contact just for that.
I'm just gonna be
Sort of see if he's okay.
scouting around the forge, looking for raw materials and ingots, anything I can just goblin with me in my fucking bag of holding.
Yeah, so there's those pile of pickaxe heads and stuff like that, and there's that pile of suspicious-looking rock as well, which you can go over and take a look at if you want.
Yes, I will investigate.
Go for it.
Ivelios is enjoying the heat of the big fire.
Janus is going to go over to the entrance and get ready.
Yeah, so this seems to be a big pile of just iron ore that they were going to kind of process into making stuff.
I'll take some of it.
Presumably stuff that they just found whilst they were mining the tunnel.
Alright, I'll take some of the pickaxe heads and I'll take some of the iron ore.
Go for it. There's literally a pile of about 50 pickaxe heads. You can take whatever you want. And there's quite a lot of iron ore as well. It's just like a big pile. So just kind of give me a number and you can probably take it. I'll just have to decide how long it takes you.
I don't know, 50 chunks. How much can I
space to store 50 chunks?
500 pounds. 64 cubic feet. Nah, I'll leave the iron ore because it's not that useful.
Okay.
I don't have a forge with me at all times.
Wilson's a refined man.
Not a refinery, man.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, you can grab a couple of pickaxe heads. That's not going to take you too long. It's quite a simple, just kind of toss into the bag.
This room, like, did we have to turn off to go into this room, or was it just kind of
No, it led
opened up
straight
into?
into it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
What should we do about the tent? Did it look lived in?
It looked
That
like the back of the
outside
tent.
that's outside, like in the daylight.
Yes.
In which case, I'll start heading up towards that way.
I'll join Bell.
I'm gonna follow, seeing Beleric go off on their own.
Yes.
Okay.
Clank.
Follow along as soon as I've grabbed all the pickaxe heads.
Lee,
Head up a bit quietly, just in case there are like backup there.
you want to roll
It's
some
back up
stealth?
there. No, because it will go badly, but I will.
I'll attempt stealth.
I will also stealth.
Okay.
I shall stealth.
Oh dear. 10, 6.
Dice rolls are impeccable today. 25.
25.
Good lord.
Beleric
Neither
just
me.
going off super sneakily, doing really well. Everyone panics that Beleric is going off on their own and sort of rushes after them like, "Oh, are you okay?"
22, and we're missing one from a Wilson.
Mrs. Wilson's going stealthy, huh? Oh, I will.
Believe, are you?
Assuming the rest of my party is.
Eric, how long will it take you to get the average on that one?
Oh, of all of them, 40, 62, 72, 78 divided by 5, just under 16.
Lovely.
Scare me.
I'll round it up to a 16 average for you guys because I'm really, really nice.
It's 15.6.
So I'll round up anyway. I'm not that nice. I'm just good at maths. Anyway, so you proceed up this tunnel, approaching the back of this tent that's almost right in front of the entrance. So as you walk up, as I said, the daylight starts to get brighter and brighter, kind of receding from this like red glow of the forge. And before you get to the ends of the tunnel, you can start to hear things over the sound of kind of like the raging fires in the room behind you. And you can start to hear the sounds of kind of like grunting, footsteps, people walking around outside, the rustling of tents, and a very strange sound. It sounds like a very slow wind. But not like wind. It's very weird. It sounds strange. And yeah, as you approach the exit of this tunnel, daylight starts to get brighter and brighter until you step out into the light, blink a little bit, get readjusted to the kind of like the really stark bright daylight of kind of like the reflected sun off the snow around you. Before you realise that there is actually no snow around you. Where you are appears to be. As you kind of like peek around the tent in front of you to get a better view of the area. Where you are appears to be a massive, sprawling complex of tents, some small stone buildings you can see here and there, arranged in kind of like a circular pattern around something in the middle of this encampment. As I said before, the air is kind of thick with sounds of grunting. You can see many, many Mine-otaurs kind of like walking around, going about daily tasks, some of them lugging around, barrels of water, hunks of food, things like that. Mixed among these Mine-otaurs, however, are some demons that range from kind of like small impish creatures that you've seen before, very common spine devils that you've seen on the front lines, very, very weak demons. They move with kind of like this weird, twisted, kind of like unnatural grace throughout the Mine-otaurs to this form in the middle of the camp, which is kind of like the main attraction, as it were. It is something that I actually have a picture for, but I've got to put it in. Let me just do that real quick. It is a giant, what looks to be kind of like lava mound. It's a huge demon that looks like it would be enormous if it was stood up, but it's lying down. It's lying down on the floor, and it lies in the center of the camp. And you can see its chest is very slowly rising and falling, and it's just breathed in fully. And as you're looking at it, it emits. It breathes out, it exhales, and this big kind of like burning burst of fire kind of emits from its mouth and spreads throughout the air, throughout the entire camp. Provides it with kind of, you feel like a bit of a wave of heat roll over you.
It's quite
And
nice.
then it starts its very slow intake of breath again.
In which case, because I'm assuming kind of got to the edge of this tunnel,
You're kind of like peering around the tent in front of you.
seeing all of this, I'm just gonna like frantically like kind of signal in any way to the really loud people behind me to be really quiet.
There you go.
Does it look like we're in a... Ooh, that's a big boy.
FD.
We can say
Big boy.
Good.
Does
Oh,
it
no.
look like we are still in the snow area and this is
So-
just keeping it warm enough to melt at all?
Yes, you are. You are still in the snowy mountains, but the whole stone and floor around you is it seems like it's been melted away. You're in like a big dip, and the snow kind of embankments come up around the very edges of the encampment, like it's melted away like a crater down to the stone below.
Oh no. Any of them seem to be. I mean, I made a lot of noise. It was also in a forge. Does anybody seem to be like looking
Doesn't seem to be the
towards
case.
her? Okay, that's fine. Whew.
Would Janus recognize this type of demon?
No, you do
Oh.
not recognize this type of demon. This is a demon you have not seen before.
Eric goes towards Janus and says, I'm sorry for doubting you. Stopping those Mine-otaurs has potentially saved us. So, thank you.
No problem. Totally meant to see that.
But this is clearly a barracks, an encampment. How do you all think we should approach this?
I don't want to fight the big thing in the field today. Very trying, lots of walking. He's really rather large, so figure out why they're here and then skedaddle. Prison usually handles some demons.
This seems like a large-scale operation to storm the prison from the inside. At least that's my theory. With the added bonus of freeing Yagarath and then getting him on their side to also help storm the prison. Considering that they're using the forge to build weapons as well.
Is it a base strike at Rulum, perhaps? Or is it more perhaps teleportation access to wherever the deliveries to the Black Cell come to? Or maybe it's
That-
something more sinister. Who knows?
That's anyone's guess. It's too far from Rulum, so it has to be something to do with teleportation or just taking the prison.
It seems to me more to do with getting Yagarath back. We walked down that tunnel for over a day. It's clearly been a long operation, and this would be the base of that operation. What do you think, Wilston, Bellerock?
I think they were just
I-
trying to bust them out. I mean, he clearly had a
I
plan of
wonder
where
why
to go.
Just wonder why they needed such a large bonfire. If it was a matter of an escort.
Well, if they were here for 10 years, then it's easier to bring this here. But regardless, how do you think we should deal with this? Are you pro going back? Pro sneaking? Pro fight? What are your thoughts?
Are we like on like a top of a ridge line looking down into the camp?
You're in the entrance to the cave, kind of behind one of the tents that luckily blocks the entrance from view from most people. I'm assuming you've kind of like stepped back into the entrance of the tunnel a little bit to have this discussion.
Velius, would you mind doing me a favor and just getting a rough idea of how many combatants are within the camp?
I'll see what I
Thank you.
can. And pull up the hood of my cloak and sort of dip through. And first is just
Before you leave, I'll cast Pass Without Trace on you. I'll cast Pass Without Trace on everyone. But
if
plus
do I
10
not
to
have to
stealth.
do I not have to be close to you to benefit from that? Is it not like an aura thing?
That's
Each.
how I've used it in the past.
Oh yeah, that's what we said in the past. Yeah, okay, that doesn't matter then.
I will, however, before you go, just put a hand on your shoulder. Just be careful and inspire you again. I think you used it beforehand.
I think it would have timed out. So yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
also give you guidance for the next minute.
All right.
Dear God, don't die.
There's like probably a minimum of like a 35 on yourself or
All
something
right.
ridiculous.
Yeah, and then Avelius is going to stealth around and just sort of do a long loop. Well, he's going to attempt to. So I have advantage on my stealth, plus a D8 for bardic inspiration, plus a D4 for bless. Guidance.
Right.
Sorry.
You have 2 guidance.
They don't stack,
No?
unfortunately. Nothing in D&D
But
stacks.
that is.
I can give a flash of genius.
You can if you want to.
I will.
How perceptive
Okay.
do you think these guys are? Are they going to see past like 30 plus?
Also, they have disadvantage to spot me because of my cloak. But what's the bonus for Flash of Genius, Wilston?
Dex modifier.
Which
So,
is
Another +5 for you, I'm assuming.
+5.
Oh God.
No, because
No.
Flash of Genius is.
Oh no, my
your
intelligence modifier. It's my int, yeah. But yeah, it's +5.
So that's 21 plus my stealth, which is 34.
Okay. 34 in total.
34 total.
I definitely thought that could be higher. What did you roll? What was the what was the dice roll?
I rolled a 12 on the dice, a 1 on bardic inspiration, and a 3 on guidance.
They
So
helped.
pretty on the low end. Damn.
Yeah.
34. Lovely. So you're going to stealth around the camp and kind of survey the area, get a bit of a look about what's going on.
Yep.
What's everyone else want to do in the meantime? Are you just kind of retreating back? You know, like waiting for him to do the reconnaissance? What's the play?
I'm just going to be watching out, trying to just observe, observe what I can, gather as much intelligence as I can, patiently waiting.
Yeah, I'll just be standing guard by the door waiting until he gets back.
Okay.
Can I roll a history check or something to see if I can remember anything in terms of when I was back home? How like the encampments were kind of set up? And, like if there was a center to bases, or if it was just a bit scattered, or if there's one fancy looking tent that seems to have everything in it.
Yeah, you can give it a go. I
Cool.
think you're probably more versed with like orcish encampments,
Yeah,
but you can give it a shot.
might have had
You
some
can remember-
influence.
You can remember what orcish encampments look like.
So that's fair. 13?
Yeah, orcish encampments were probably mostly centered around like the chieftain's tent in the middle. Yeah, kind of, the further out you got, the less important the people were. As most
Okay,
camps
I'll
probably operate, really.
yeah, that's fair. I'll kind of relay that and say like, I don't know if it's of any use since we were very much allies by necessity, not willingness, but it may have some similarities.
Any knowledge is useful in this situation.
Lovely. And then Avelios ducks out to flip through the tents, completely unseen for the entire journey. Yeah, so you survey the entire camp. How do you want to like go methodically and survey like anything and everything? Are you going into tents, or are you just kind of walking through the streets to get a rough idea of numbers?
Probably quick scan round the outside, very fleet, just to get an idea of how big it is, and then through the middle, see how everything's organized, but staying out of any tents unless there's an obvious command one that's like really fancy or pavilion-y that I can just sort of poke at.
Okay, so you run around the edge. It's a very large encampment. There's probably about 40, 50 tents in this encampment. Most of them look pretty standard. There are a couple of like small stone kind of like lean-to buildings as well. That mostly seem to be just kind of like food storages, like places where to keep the weather off some of the food. Some of them are kind of like open air barbecue kind of like style thingies as well. And yeah, there is one tent in the middle, quite close to the really big guy. Where as you're walking around, it does stand out a little bit, as it's just much bigger. It's instead of kind of like the smaller kind of like barracky style tents, it's like a big circular. What's the word? I have gazebo, but it's not
Gazebo.
Gazebo shaped. It's a big circular tent with kind of like a pointed tip.
Kind
Marquee.
of like a
Marquee,
yurt?
that's the one I'm looking for.
Oh.
I think yurt's
Like
a more like
circus.
permanent structure kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think marquee might be the word I'm looking for. A big marquee-shaped tent. And outside of that, you can see another thing that draws your eye is that there is a devil. One that is not a spine devil or a big, fiery, breathing giant devil. This guy, he looks pretty boring, to be honest. But he's you haven't seen any other devils that look like this. He looks, you would probably even count them quite a lot. Actually, he looks a bit like a bearded devil.
A pain in the.
Which bearded devils look a bit like this. There you
A
go.
pain in the Janus.
Those are what bearded devils look like in Aleria.
Ooh.
More on the humanoid side, but they have tails, big kind of like long, dangly kind of tentacles in their beard and such like. Who stood outside with what looks like some sort of scroll in his hand, muttering kind of under his breath to himself.
I'm gonna sneak up behind him and see if I can read it.
Okay. What languages do you speak?
Common, hang on, and a whole bunch of other ones. Let me find it. Common, Draconic, Dwarvish, and Elvish.
Okay. You can sneak up behind him and look at the paper without him being alerted to you. It's not even possible for him to roll a 34. However, it is in a language that you do not understand. You would recognise it as Infernal, you just wouldn't be able to read it.
In which case, I'm gonna pop into the tent, seeing as I'm behind him anyway.
Okay. It's a very large open style tent. The centerpiece of the room is a desk, and out to the right there's a big kind of like 4-poster looking bed. and some bed drapes and cushions kind of in the corner, like a lounge area. And on the left, there's like a seating area with some wooden benches, stone benches, some more cushions, and like a table in the middle that has leftovers of some cooked meats on them. There's a large chest at the back of the tent as well. It's just very lavishly lavish for here, lavish for demons, lavishly decorated tent, presumably of whoever's in charge here.
Okay. Gonna take a quick look in the chest.
Yeah. It's not locked at the moment. So yeah, you open the chest, you pop the latch. Probably not even closed, to be honest, because he's just taken something out of it. But you take a look in the chest. It seems to be filled with bits of paper and a few sacks, leathery-looking sacks, and there's one leathery-looking scroll as well. Scroll looks to me like tanned leather of some sort.
Can I read any of the papers? Are they all in Infernal?
They all appear to be infernal.
Yep. Okay. I'm gonna take. No, I'm gonna leave the scroll for the minute, actually. But I will take a couple of scraps of meat off the plate and munch them.
Actually, walk out behind the guy, eating his food.
No, not quite. I'm gonna scan the documents again, just to see if I don't speak Infernal, but I'm hoping that I can pick out names. See if there's any names that I can spot. Scroll.
Roll me a D100.
Cool. Need more dice. We'll go with you guys. So it'll be Arcane. 45. Not
You
a hit.
don't spot any names on these bits of paper.
Alrighty. Cool. In which case, then I'm gonna pop back out.
Well, you don't spot any names you recognise or anything
Yeah.
that you would know as names because it's. You don't spot like the word Yagarath or anything like that.
Yeah. Get 3/4 of the way to the door. Sigh. Double back to the chest. Stuff the scroll into a pocket.
The leathery scroll.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then slip out the door, right behind him for a second, and then duck off the side.
Lovely. Returning to the group.
Yep.
Okay. Lovely. So after a good, probably only like 10-15 minutes, Velios is going to return to you guys.
Yeah.
No one else has approached you in the tunnel. They all seem to be busy doing whatever they're doing in the camp.
Lovely. I am not obvious to anyone as I come back into here. I'm going to be sneaky and just wander up behind Bellerock. And
Knew that was coming.
and just drop the scroll just like over his shoulder and go, catch. Catch.
There's going to be like
And
the start of a scream.
easy now.
I think like while you were scuttling off, I was kind of having a look at the map and trying to work out where we might have popped out. And yeah, it's a fancy map, but I've got no respect for the owner, so I'm probably gonna like doodle on it a bit and be like, maybe around here. But yeah, when something like drops on it, it's like, it's fine.
Found that in a command tent. Have a look at it. It might be trapped. Just careful.
Well,
Are you instantly unfurled it?
Yes.
Lovely. So it's a bit hard to unfurl. It's a bit cracked. Seems to be maybe quite old.
Feel like
unfurl it-
skin.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tan leather, so it's skin of something.
Okay, fair enough.
Some of the bits of the back kind of like crack and peel. You open it, and it's almost exactly the same as the map that you were just looking at. It's very crudely drawn. Maybe some sort of like charcoal or like inky charcoal has been used to draw it. It's not in colour, but it does have the same marker of the map that you have. The lines are a bit more childish, like someone with very little artistic skill has drawn it.
Amateurs. Does it have any kind of indication of where we are Like a big "you are here" sort of.
It has a "you are here," but it's in the same place as the location of the black cell.
Okay. Is there any visible like marking that different to mine? It's mine. It's mine now.
Not from.
Okay, so it's all like
No.
the same except for the style.
Yeah, except for the style. It depicts the same, the same bits of rock to kind of navigate your way through the snowy mountains and stuff.
All right. Well, the place is blimmin' large, to put it mildly. There's what, 50 tents, a heap ton of minotaurs, some minor devils. Appears to be a bearded devil that I think is in charge. At least apart from the big fire breathing, whatever. Everything's written in infernal. Infernally annoying, seeing as I don't speak it. I brought this scroll back because it might be interesting. Turns out, is it just another map, Bell?
Looks like it, unless there's something in it that I can't see with just by looking.
Great. Well, that was incredibly helpful. Other than that, it stretches a good ways. There's a couple of buildings that are like stone. These guys have been here long enough to erect some form of permanent shelters. Other than that,
How many are there total?
total, I'd say. Gage, give me a number, please.
I mean, walking around, you probably saw at least 60, 70 rough head count. There's probably more in the tents.
Call it an even 100 on minotaurs and then a smattering of devils. A challenge, certainly.
So this map doesn't necessarily mean that we didn't find anything, because we were assuming they were working with Far Reach. Loath as I am to admit it, that's not necessarily the case. It means they had access to this map, or the map maker.
Do we know how many maps there are of this marker to the black cell? Well, it's possible they found it. It's possible somebody helped them create it. I really wanted Farish guilty. That's so annoying.
We don't have to, bring this one back. We can just assume.
Possession is 9/10 of the law.
It must
With
mean, though,
someone,
that. Oh, no, you first, Bill.
I was just going to say, with someone like Janice on our side, I think we can sway the law somewhat.
But knowing that there's 2 copies of this map must mean that they have an inside person. Now, it might not necessarily be Far Reach now, but it must be someone who knows about the Black Cell. Question is who?
Fine point. My vote's with Farreach still. I think the man's an absolute heart.
But it's not. The world could do with one fewer of him, I suppose.
We'll burn that bridge when we get back to Illyrians.
H, can I
I
do
like
a
the sound of that.
can I do a history check to see if I can remember who we know has access to the Black Cell's information?
Yeah, you can go for it. Ten. From what you remember, no one really told you who has access. All you knew is that Far Reach was the guy in charge of that. He owns the black. He doesn't own it, but it's owned by the crown. But he like
Commands it.
Administers it.
he administers it. He's the guy. It kind of like leases it, I guess, from the crown. You know, when something's like it's owned by the state, but people can still use it, kind of thing. He kind of does that.
We know that the Queen knows about it because she gave us permission.
Yes, it's owned by the crown.
Mm.
So presumably the royal family knows about it. Anyone that they entrust with the information to know knows about it. And Far Reach owns it, so who's to say who he's told.
Just looking at the area, is it, because obviously the snow's melted away, is it just like barren flat land? Are there rock? There's like grass
It's
and trees started
it's
to
like a
grow.
stony mountain. It's just a bit muddy. No, it wouldn't be mud. It would be like rock dust has kind of started to accumulate on the floor, but it's like a flat stone floor. Well, obviously not flat, but it's like natural stone flooring of a mountain.
Yeah, nothing's growing.
No.
Now, we could either go back and tell the prison about this, and we can mount a sizable force to take them on, or we have the element of surprise now and possibly attack them, but I feel like that is a bad decision.
Not sure how much use the prison would be, given that they couldn't keep their one prisoner.
I mean, they could keep him within the prison, just not within his chains. Otherwise, he would have just burst through all of the seals and had done with it. He had to have someone to tunnel him out to begin with.
Either that or he was just lazy.
I like to think the best of people. Well, occasionally.
Thinking the best of him, then perhaps he was testing his allies. Dangerous job to break into that place. Perhaps he was seeing how dedicated they are.
A funny test when it makes you go mad.
Maybe he was already.
Point. Well,
I feel like being known now will ruin everything later. Unless they work out that their map is on and not just misplaced, we still have the element of surprise.
I would quite to have Eric talk to the, or at least read the correspondence in that tent. I think it's an excellent place to start learning more about what's going on here.
I can certainly do that. I've been in many of, not this specific type, but many encampments. Our issue is that the encampment is staying stationary. In the past, I've been able to gather information and take care of them when they're vulnerable. Use the surrounding nature, any weak points against them. But they are camped in. I'm happy to go and look at that note that you mentioned. As you point out, I can read Infernal. I can turn into a fly, and they would likely not see me. Read and come back, if that would be useful. My thoughts on the situation is, well, this is the first time I've dealt with an encampment with colleagues, with friends. My typical way would be to go into each tent sneakily, take each person out individually, or wait until they are in a point of vulnerability and remove them at once, all at once. But for now, would you like me to read the notes?
I mean, if you can get there undetected, then it saves me lugging them back here.
Did you see any animals?
Within the camp?
I'm just
Did
trying
I?
to work out if there's an animal that is commonplace, like a mosquito or a
No.
rat.
I don't think so. They would have to be native to the mountains in the first place to be in here.
I'll go in. I'll wild shape into the form of a fruit fly, so tiny.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll try and fly.
Yeah.
Use the directions from.
Before you do, as you transform, Avelios is going to be like, "Do you want some backup company?"
I should be fine. I should be fine.
All right,
Worst case scenario, I can get back here quickly.
all right. And then all hell breaks loose, and we let Janus out.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Excellent. Good luck.
Thank you.
Stay safe.
Yeah. And I'll
Okay.
get out
Polymorph into a fruit fly. Fly
to a fruit fly.
fly kind of up so you can see where this fancy tent is, and you fly over to the fancy tent. You can get in it fine. As I said before, there's a desk in the middle with some paper on the top, and then there's a chest at the back that's still open. The demon's still out the front, muttering and scribbling on the bit of paper that he's got in his hands.
So I'll start with the paper that's out in the bearded devil's hand.
Yep.
And try and have a look at that.
Okay. So he's kind of sat there, he's got it in his hands, and he keeps like looking up and thinking and like whispering to himself, and then looking down and then scribbling away at it. This particular piece of paper appears to be an entry from kind of like a diary that he's keeping. And it starts with the details of 2 days ago? About 2 or 3 days ago. And the first entry on this piece of paper is our reinforcements did not show up. It's a bunch of scribbled out lines that you can't read.
Okay.
And then another couple of lines which basically say they outline this creature's worry that they might not be able to get to Yagrath by the agreed upon time. They began working overtime to try and mine as much as possible. And throughout the whole entry, there is lots of worry and doubt that they're going to make it on time. There is a few kind of like snippets here and there where he's like, "It should be fine. It doesn't need to be directly on time. It's all right for a few hours out here and there," kind of thing. Trying to argue away his worry. And then it leads on to some comments about organising the party to go and pick him up. And it kind of finishes with a list of names. And he's currently writing out this list of names under the kind of like the party that he wants to go and pick Yagarath up. There's about 7 names on it at the moment.
Okay. And inside the tent, I'm guessing none of the nothing's open.
There are a couple of bits of paper open on the table. The ones inside the chest aren't.
I'll
The
read
chest's
the one.
open, but the paper on the paper in it isn't.
I'll look at the ones on the desk.
Yep, most of the stuff on the desk appears to be like inventory, taking inventory. Like food counts, head counts, stock counts, stuff like that.
So from that, what is the head count?
The head count. 113.
Wonderful.
That is about 95 Mine-otaurs, about 6 or there's 7 spine demons. Sorry, there's 95 Mine-otaurs,
Yep.
and then there's him, and then there's the big fiery guy, and the rest of them are spine devils.
Okie dokie. In the chest, does it look like? Can I get any insight as to whether it seems like the rest are diary entries, or, for example, what I'm looking for is, are they on the same type of paper?
Yeah,
Seemingly,
most of them are on the same type of paper.
they don't look like they've been taken in from outside. They're more record keeping.
Well, you couldn't really tell. All you know is that they're written on the same paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you can tell.
Okay. I have right. So yeah, that I can't ask people what they think I should do. um. Okay. For now, I think I I think I will not turn back human to try and open some of the things, but I will fly back out. I will get up a bit high to see if I can spot anything else that's of use. But if not, I'll start heading back towards the others with some ideas to mention.
Yeah, I don't think you'd spot anything that you're like, oh, I need to go and check that out. Really? Most of it's pretty much the same, just camps, Minotaurs walking around, working, like kinks out in their armor, tanning new leather, stuff like that, just normal camp behavior. They head back to the group.
I turn back into a human, into an elf, and okay, so you are very close, Ivelios. There are 95 Minotaurs. There is the big guy, the devil that you mentioned, and then roughly 16 spine devils. Now, so we know the numbers. However, the document you mentioned that the devil was writing, it was essentially diary entries. Seemingly those Minotaurs we stopped on the way were heading to here. But the important thing is he is planning on sending a group of around 7 to come and free Yagarath. So I'm expecting that sometime in the next few hours, few days, maybe, some of their probably strongest fighters will come and come to free Yagarath. Now, my thoughts are, if they are strong enough to come and be dealt with the honor of finally freeing the general, that if we could deal with them alone, it might make our task easier for the entire camp.
That makes sense to me, and probably weaken morale as well. So I would be interesting to get a spine devil or two. If we can take them out, then that opens up possibilities. I think Minotaurs are easily dealt with by Jenna.
I
Offering
think,
a
however, we do. Yes.
sorry, just an idea. You are far more adept at killing these creatures than I. Is there any value when they send these 7 people things to come and rescue Jaggerath? Is there any benefit to hostaging some of them?
I think the benefits of hostaging them would only be for information. Demons see their foot soldiers as expendable, and they would not make concessions for the lives of a few. But it is a good idea that we could get some information. It's whether they would be perceptive to that.
I'm-
I think whatever we do, we need to deal with them in small batches, because 100 at once on an open field is not ideal. In situations that we create, it's very possible.
defeat in detail. I like.
In which case, is there any way of trapping their means to get in here? Setting a trap in the forge room, for instance, or in the tunnels, preparing them to fall down
That is
while
indeed
everyone's in
correct.
there.
That is a good idea. I would advise against traps in this room, just because noise. It is very easy for them to escape and to alert the others. But if we were to go down the tunnel a bit and lay
Even in the cell.
A bit
Wouldn't-
far.
a bit
Wouldn't
far,
they be immediately suspicious though, because there's no one in the forge?
that's a very good point. That's a very good
If
point.
we can ambush them in the forge, however, then the ambient noise of forge work should cover up anything that we need to do. I'm sure Wilston can find something to do with the forge in the meantime.
It did make a very loud noise, and nobody seemed to respond immediately.
And then we have a
Does that
couple of
bode well?
days, at the very least, owing to the fact of how long it took us to get from the cell to here. We've got a small window in which to prepare ourselves before camp gets suspicious.
Yes. Okay, I think we're in agreement then that we'll wait for these 7 and then go from there.
Yes.
Is the kind of the passageway from the forge to the outside, is that like the same width as the mining tunnels, or is it wider?
No, it's
Is it
about.
kind of a tunnel?
It could probably go about 5 abreast, maybe about 20 feet wide.
Okay.
About
Okay,
7
so it's
feet
not
tall.
like a bottleneck as much as I'd hoped it was.
No. I mean, presumably this one's used a lot more than the mining tunnel, so they want it to be as convenient as possible, you know.
Makes sense.
Well,
Right,
first thing we need to do is get rid of these bodies. Janus is going to start dragging all the dead Minotaur bodies and throwing it into the lava of the forge.
It's an effective way as any.
I'm good. Well, just before he does that, one of the Minotaurs, like one of the less important looking ones. I imagine they're all pretty less important if they were stuck in the
Yes,
forge. But
yes.
I just want to glance over one of them and see if I can pick out any visually distinctive details. Just in case we needed to disguise as one, how we could do that accurately. I
Or we're
just
gonna
want to do a bit of
flay
a
them.
These particular ones are
like
covered in
disguise myself.
lots of burn marks and scars, presumably from forge work and working with open heat. Other than that, they
Any
look
with like
pretty...
particular scars on face or tattoos
Yeah,
or
quite a few
anything.
of them have like facial scars. We'll say the guy at the front of the anvil has a big one, like right across his face.
Okay, cool. I'll just do a bit of an assessment then of what this one person, Minotaur, looks like, and just kind of have it just in case he gets tossed into the fire.
Lovely. And in that case, then, do you want to call it for the week?
Setting up ambushes in a forge seems a good place as any.
It is about 9, so that was a good session. I enjoyed that session.
Yes.
For sure.
Very fun.
Wilston
Lovely.
can use his crafting skills.
Hell yeah.
See what you can do with a big ass fucking
Sated.
forge.
Oh, the answer
Build
is
up.
so much.
Build a tank. like a mech for Wilson. You know.
I'm just imagining like the squad comes in and then on the tunnel to the mine shaft, there's just like basically a wall of metal with a massive cannon just sticking out of it as Wilson goes, Wall Mark II.
Say hello to my little friend.
Lovely.
That's for next week.
Yeah. Not next week.
Oh,
as
not next week.
We have a couple of people that can't make it, so we're not going to be on next week, but we should be on the week after, as far as I know. And we will continue with the story. Oh, that was good.
Coolio.
As always, Ivar, he hasn't been here for a couple of weeks, but he's coming. We enjoy him as part of the group, so we're not kicking him out. We're not replacing him. We're just going to reschedule things come season 2, I think. So
It's out of his control.
Yeah, he still streams. If you want, well, I don't know actually if he still streams, but his streaming link is below. If you want to go check him out, funny guy. Doom streams, I stream. You'll find me on here. Make sure to join the Discord so you know when we're live. You'll see us all in a little voice chat when we're about to go live. It's a nice little extra thing to notify you. You can chat with us, play games with us, all that cool stuff. You know, we're really famous, right? You want to
If
play
anyone
games with
plays Valorant, you know, we're
yeah, we're looking for people to play that. Other than that, that's about it, and we will see you in a couple of weeks.
Bye.